Hi there, I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media.
And I'm Jenni Walk from Elephant in the Room Consulting, and you're tuning into Bite-Sized Business Life Podcast, the show that helps business owners get clarity and insight to grow their dream business.
Whether you're launching, ready to scale, or figuring out what's next, we discuss the nitty-gritty, the hard bits, the opportunities, and the behind the scenes, and share how we've grown our own companies and helped others do the same.
We're glad you're here. BFF, Kylie Mowbray-Allen, and you're tuning in to Bite-Sized Business Life Podcast, the show that helps small business owners get clarity and insight to grow their dream business. How are you today, Kylie? It's Monday, so it's Bite-Sized Day.
And it's dark outside, Jenni. I quite enjoy doing this at the end of the day, and finishing off the day with a whammo of a great chat.
I'm really excited about today's conversation because it's something that I know clients have spoken to you a lot about, and I've spoken to a lot of clients about as well, in relation to how to start a business and how to manage a business on a shoestring. We know, and so it's one of my favorite topics. So I'm really excited about today.
Me too. So the shoestring is a really important one. I can't think of anyone that I know personally that has said, right, I've got $100,000 put aside, ready to start my dream business. Most people say, how much is it going to cost me to get this up and running? I've got a few thousand put aside, or 10,000 or whatever. Often that will make me cringe because we only know from experience, right, that there's more that you need to put into it in the beginning than what most people prepare for.
100%. But I also think that it's a reason people don't start a business, whatever your business looks like, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a hobby business on every weekend, or whether it's actually starting a full-blown business. People often use it's the same conversation we have about coaching. I can't get coaching for you unless I get a grant because I don't have the money. I can't start my company or my business because I don't have enough money. I think that's one of the fallacies I want to talk about here today, because you can start a business on nothing. You can start a business on very little, should we say. So when we're talking about a shoestring budget, I remember helping a client when I very first started. In fact, I did. It was $83 back in the day for a 3-year registration of my business name. That was to me to be a sole trader. I have an ABN and I could be a sole trader. And with $86 and $23 for my domain name, I could start a company. Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, they're all free. So the only things to legally start a company that you need is an ABN. In fact, you don't even need that if it's a hobby business. It's just if you actually want to turn it into something more practical and build an actual business. So the reality is you don't need a lot of money to start a business. What you need is the desire and will. And I like to call that sweat equity. You need to put in the effort and time. And I know so many people come to me, and many of my clients come to me and say, look, I've got the foundation, I've got the funding, I've got a grant, or I've got this. And so I'm going to throw all the money into building the best website and getting the systems automated, and they buy the most expensive systems and get the most amazing website. But that doesn't actually help them make money. It doesn't help the business be successful because they haven't actually put the time and effort in that's needed to understand who your client is, where your client is in the market in terms of online, offline, what that looks like, what even product that you're selling, and getting that understanding. That's free. It doesn't cost money to do research about who your client is, what their needs are, and how you can actually reach them. And that's what people forget. And when we spend too much money up front really quickly, you actually don't earn that. You don't actually earn those stripes, if you like. You don't put that equity into the business. And then we start to see that later on in the business, they struggle because they haven't spent that time up front.
If singing were my thing, I would sing very loudly right now, hallelujah to you, because 100% everything that you've just said is so right. What I do think is, right from the beginning, invest in that coach. Because when you say sweat equity, that's a really good one. It's amazing how many people come to me and say, I've still got my job and I want to be able to leave my job and just do my business full time. But they're not willing to put in loads of extra time to actually really build it up. So that's concerning to me, that it's almost like a little part-time gig, which is great. If you just want it to be a part-time gig, perfect. But how quickly and how much do you want to grow that business? So
it's such a big, that safety net is so important. I've had so many clients that we've started, had the right motivation, a really amazing product, but what they wanted was their business to replace their income straight away. Mm-hmm. And the reality is most businesses that you start won't replace the revenue that you're getting or the income that you're getting for at least 18 months. There are some unicorn businesses that you can start today and you might make as much money as you do in your full-time gig, but they are unicorns. They come out very rarely and they are, something to behold. But that's rare these days. Unless you're doing something incredibly innovative and just out of this planet, you're unlikely to make that replacement income, particularly if your income are high six figures, right? I've got clients who say, well, I'm earning $150,000 in my current business, so I need this business to make $150,000 before I leave. And the challenge is they're only putting in 5, 10, 15 hours a week into their business because the rest of their time is going into that full-time gig. So you don't have that sweat equity. It is literally just a hobby. And that is perfectly okay. But then don't use the excuse that it didn't work and it wasn't a good idea, or I didn't get the right coaching, or my coach wasn't good, or whatever those things that come up in your head if you're not willing to put in the time. One of the most important things to me about sweat equity is around commitment. When you see someone, when you're building a house, and I take this to my partner all the time. We bought a house a year ago, and we've got a builder who did their back deck. We can't do that. We've got AstroTurf going in the backyard. We can't do that. But we had a small piece of plumbing that we could do. I asked a friend how to do it, and we went and we worked it out and we put it in. It was only 90 minutes of our time. But we can now say, we put in that downpipe. We did that. And there's some satisfaction in that, right? That we've actually put in that time. Could we have paid someone else to do it? Sure. But why? You don't need to do that. You actually have what you need. And with YouTube and coaching conversations like this, you can get what you need to actually start that business. The work that you've got, go to your website, go to hellomedia.team and download and read the blogs that tell you how to leverage Instagram, leverage your social media. Come to our page and look at the tips and hints that we show you on how to start a business and developing the business or finding your offer, your vision. There's so much free content available. All you need is will and time and a determination to make it successful. But then you've got to back yourself, right?
Totally. I love that you've mentioned that determination, though. So one thing I can't bear is when people come to me and they say, I've put all this money into it. It was all I had. And this is what I've got. And I'm like, that's why you need to see that coach. Even just investing in 1 hour with a coach. That's all you need to do at the very beginning and say, what are the top 5 things I need to do? So many times I've advised people, go and grab that Instagram, that Facebook, that LinkedIn, all those spots and park them. You don't have to do anything with them. They're like, no, I'm not ready for that. But it's like, do it. Grab that domain name. I mean, particularly all those socials are free. Grab your domain name, put it aside so that you can be working on the website in the back end. But even things like your branding, at least start with something. Come up with an idea. You can evolve it later on, as we talked about last week. But start with something. You need to have an idea of where you're moving forward with.
That's right. And I think that's that kind of energy. So first thing that I would say, to build your business on a shoestring is you can probably start. I think I estimated for a client that they needed $250 to get the basics that they needed. So that was a domain name, their website, and that was just a landing page on the website, and all the socials, and to register their business name. And I always say to register for 3 years because it gives you time to grow or play around. Don't do it for a year. It costs you more in the long run, and that actually motivates you to do something with it too, in my mind. But the next thing, though, is that what we forget, like Facebook, like all the free social media is still free to use fundamentally, right? So you can use systems to leverage your time and leverage your exposure. So using MetaSuite, the business suite, the back of the Meta platforms, using automated platforms, using things like Airtable, which you and I have spoken to ad nauseum about how good it is to set up systems, set up your business processes, create your content and leverage your content. There are so many free systems. And I know your website, and I think one of our previous blog on Elephant in the Room has a list of, amazing platforms that you can use for free to start with. You don't need to go and buy paid Canva to start. You don't need to go and buy ClickFunnels. I love ClickFunnels, great program, or HubSpot, or whatever it is, but you can start with the free versions of those products to get your business going. What that also does, if you're leveraging systems, in my mind, is that it helps you iron out and decide whether that system is the right one for you. So you might, I know a client years ago who had a coach who said, go and buy the full paid top end version of about 5 or 6 products. And when she came to me, she had no business operating, but was spending $2,500 a month on systems that she didn't know how to use, that weren't right for a business, because a business coach had said, go and buy these things, you need them. That's what I have. So it was a business coach that was about leveraging their own affiliate networks rather than actually what was right for the client. And the client just didn't understand why it wasn't working for her. And so we unpacked it all and we got rid of most of those systems, and she ended up with one. And so she went from $2,500 to $150 a month, and we started to leverage that system. So you can find one of those systems. I know you use Keep. There's a lot of different systems that you can use that have multiple purposes. So leverage systems, paid or otherwise, to maximize your time, your processes, and your systems, but particularly with social media, that exposure, because that's what's going to grow your business long term. We know that. Know, like, and trust online, connect with your audience, and you can leverage that so easily, particularly with the Meta Business Suite.
Totally. And Jenni, you mentioned that I'm with Keep, but I would just like to say to anyone out there, that doesn't mean that I am recommending it.
No.
So, we're with it, but it's certainly not my favorite platform.
But that's the thing, right? But you never know that. If you jump in straight up and say, look, I have to spend all this money to get the best of everything to start with, that's not what being in business is about. And I think sometimes when you start with money and you start with funding, you kind of jump to that kind of top end without working it out. It's kind of like going to your open license and getting a V8 supercar before you even know how to ride a bicycle. Like, you need to work out whether you've got balance, whether it's going to work for you, whether you can go fast enough, can you even stay on the road? And all the things you need to get to first before you actually look at that top end thing. But I think
start with MailChimp.
Exactly. MailChimp is my favorite. I tell all my clients to start with MailChimp because it's easy. And I've even got a client who was so worried about spending money. We built their simple landing page on MailChimp for free. And I think then they changed that system. So it's $24, I think now, or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But it's a low cost option on something like MailChimp, where you can collect emails, you can build landing pages, you can build call to actions, you can even sell products through MailChimp. So I
would do a landing page on Canva, actually. So there's one thing that I disagree with you on, that said you could start with free Canva. I'm like, if there's one thing that you are going to actually pay for from the very first day, it is Canva. Set up your brand kit. Actually, all the things that I believe you need on Canva are all in that paid one. But literally, you can do your, what do you call it, like a link tree or whatever on there. You can do your landing page on there. There's so many things. So I think that's
we might have to do another session on Canva, because I didn't realize we could do landing pages on Canva. So that has just blown my mind. But see, that's the thing, right? This is where you have to have conversations, and this is the value of a coach. It might cost you $300, it might cost you $500, it might cost you $1,000 to spend some time with a coach to start, but that money is going to come back tenfold if you follow the advice and follow that process and actually start working in the business. And this is where, for me, the third reason why you can start a business on a shoestring is you just have to keep it simple. Don't start trying to take over the world in your first go. Start with one product or one offer or one audience on one platform even. Just start to focus and just go, okay, I know my people are in Facebook groups, so I'm going to target everything and focus my entire time and effort into these Facebook groups. I'm going to keep it simple. My offer is going to be simple. I'm going to have a clear message, and I'm going to get to know my audience. You can do that for free, people. You don't need to spend money to do that, and that can start a business. Because remember, a business needs two things: you to actually sell a product, and then people to buy it from you. And unless you're going to take the time to find people to buy your product, you don't have a business. You just have a really cool idea. And you can't, and that's not going to happen on its own. You need to set up those systems and processes. So I think that's the challenge. Is so many people say, how do I do this? I don't have money, or I don't do this. And the reality is, it's to say, what are you actually trying to achieve with your business? And what are the things you can start doing today that aren't going to cost you money? It's just going to cost you a bit of time.
So I would definitely say set up those socials and then go into Facebook groups and show that you're the solution to people's problems. That doesn't mean promote your page and all of that. It's just answer people's questions. But I just quickly looked up on Instagram for the account that I wanted to tell you all about, and that is many, many years ago at Social Media Marketing World, maybe 5 years ago, I saw this incredible guy called Tyler McCall, and Instagram expert, blah, 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 amazing dude. But he then stopped what he was doing. Maybe that happened, I don't know, through the pandemic. I'm not really sure. But anyway, he started up a new business with his partner that's a stationery shop, like bricks and mortar only, not even online. And it's called Paper and Pencil Chicago. Now, what's so cool about it is that leading up to it, I was so excited for him, and his page was just growing and growing and growing because he was sharing behind the scenes of launching this business. So if there's one that you want to go and look at, and so literally had multiple ideas of what to post about before he even opened the doors. So go and take a little look at that account and go back to the very beginning. It's only been a few months that he's been open for, but it's been a really fascinating adventure. And he's done multiple stories daily all the way through it. So I think getting it out there, giving people exciting snippets of what's coming, you're building that anticipation. So when you do open your doors, they're already ready to buy.
Yeah. And this idea about keeping it simple and focused, I go back to the Model T Ford. I go back to the original Ford. He made a beautiful car. He made a car that worked, and he only sold it in black. He's like, when they started doing, he knew the most efficient way to run the business was to sell the car in the same color with no options. This is the vehicle that's coming off the production line. It was a new product to market. They weren't really sure if people were going to buy it, if it was going to work or not. And so what he did is like, I'm going to give you a car and you can have it in any color as long as it's black. Now, these days people are like, oh, you can't do that. You need choice, but you don't. You start the product and get that engagement, get people talking about your product. And even saying that, hey, we're going to have this product. You can only get it in hot pink, and it's the only time you're going to get it in hot pink. Create a buzz around that. So don't think you have to offer whatever you're doing in multiple colors and multiple versions and even provide all the options. Yes, that's what happens down the track. But when you start your business, you keep it simple, you keep it focused on what your target market wants. As you said, find out what they need, find out what they want, get that niche, get people talking about you, and then you build your business from there. And then you use the systems that you've created to leverage that. Then you start to expand, you put a bit more time, and then your money will start flowing, and then you reinvest. But it always comes down to making sure there's focused time and not thinking money's going to solve your business dilemma, because it doesn't always solve the problem.
I think also that you can just be so overwhelmed with so many things to do that if you just create a list of 10 things that need to be done to get this business to the next stage. So that might even be to tell people it exists or to even set up your Facebook page. Well, before that, you really obviously you need to park it, but you need to have worked out, what does my branding look like? What's my language going to be? What's my brand voice? What is it that I want to start telling people about? And what time frame do I want to do that in? So there's so many elements to it, and you're 100% right. Focus, simplicity, and strategy.
And I've just done that with Indigimesh. So we started another company in January. We're doing it as a runway. We want to be able to provide a really quality product for the Brisbane Olympics in 2032 and hope that we can get some contracts. Obviously, we have to go through the procurement process, but we're setting our business up for success. We started that 6 or 7 months ago. We only promoted it on one platform, and we've got about 5 or 6 small clients coming through. And now that we know there's people interested in the product, we're starting to talk about it. We're starting to socialize the product, and now we're going to start a focused sales and marketing campaign off the back of it. That's cost us only the cost of the domain and the website. It's cost us, and the business registration, nothing else. So $250 has given us 5 clients in business in 6 months. So we've made our money back on the business already. And now we're ready to know that we can start promoting it. So you, even experienced people like me, don't go and say, I'm going to throw money at the wall and hope it sticks. We also take time, because we know that's what a successful business comes from. Slow, considered effort, and then you get that momentum.
Absolutely. I said 2 weeks ago we're ready to launch our new program, but actually it's still not launched yet because I'm still fine-tuning it behind the scenes. I'd rather delay it and actually get it right than go out there and go, oh, in a week's time I've got to tweak it already. And then that just is when your message gets confusing. So it's also really about clarity.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what we do when we do Empire Builders. It's always about, you come along, you spend 3 days. Yes, there's an investment to come to the workshop and be there for 3 days, but we go through what the vision for your business is. We give you clarity, we give you process, we give you structure. And with you joining us in a couple of weeks, we give you that brand conversation and the way that you can show up and promote your business and using all those tools and create a really strong presence in the market. So you do that. It's 3 days of your time, but the impact on your business is massive. And we know that because we've seen it and it's a proven process. But we took us some time to get that right. It took us some time and some testing to work out what works for my business and also what works for your branding conversation. So bringing those together, we know, but what does it do? A little bit of sweat equity, using systems to leverage and keeping it simple and focused. We know it, we do that because it works.
Totally. And one thing I just want to pick up on before we sign off, you said at the beginning that people say to you, you know, how much time before I'm going to leave my other job, et cetera. And you said, you know, around 1.5 years. I generally tell people 3 years because I say for the first 3 years, everything that you're bringing in, you really need to be putting back into the business. You don't want to be taking it aside and going on a holiday because you've got to keep reinvesting and keep upskilling yourself. And it may not be 3 years, like you said, there can always be unicorns out there, right? But to not think to yourself, ooh, in 6 months' time, my business is just going to support me and my family and we're going to go to Rio.
So many people think that too, and I totally understand. You know, there's great TV shows and amazing programs you can join that tell you that you're going to have $30,000 a month in 10 weeks if you follow their systems. But that's if you're a unicorn. And that's if you're putting in a crap load of time. What they don't tell you, people, when you're buying those amazing programs, and I've done them before, you do those programs, we can tenfold your business, 10x your business, but 10 times 0 is still 0, people. Remember that. If you're starting at 0, 10x of 0 is 0. It's not, it doesn't give you $10,000. It gives you have to actually put some time in. So be really conscious of how you spend your time, where you spend your money, and make sure it's focused on what you're trying to achieve. And don't fall into this need for quick wins. Quick wins don't give you sustainability.
I love it. Great, Jenni. So good. So powerful. I love the idea that we can do some more chats about new businesses just starting out and where would you be investing your time and what you should be working on. And
definitely. And I think that's what we might be talking about in the next couple of weeks. We've got Empire Builders coming up. And I think between the conversation around where you should invest your time might be the topic for next week about if you've only got an hour a week on your side hustle or 5 hours a week, what are the 5 things that we should be doing each week to get our business thriving?
I look forward to talking about that with you next week.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Go, Jenni. Great to see you all. So, Jenni, how can everyone get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me through Elephant in the Room AU on Insta and Facebook and LinkedIn, or you can go to our website, elephantintheroomau.com, and connect with us there. But reach out, have a chat, and we'd love to work with you to build your business.
Cool. Great.
Where do we find you?
Come find us at hellomedia.team, and that's for everything, website, everything except for Facebook, which is hellomedia.dreamteam, but bypass that anyway and just jump in and join our Facebook group. So I look forward to seeing you next week.
And you too. Thanks everyone for tuning into this episode of Bite Size Business Live Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow so you don't miss any future episodes. Thank you, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye for now.
Cool. Bye.